Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to Whisper2Scream. My name is Bernard, and I'm your host. So, we will be examining some old problems, some new problems, and maybe even solve a few problems, or at least not be caught off guard about the things that's going on around us. As you know, we made a commitment to bring you updates on our stories because they are rarely finished on just one page. Okay, let's do some updates on past stories. First, we want to report that the fate of the homeless man accused of smoking crack under a bridge in Atlanta and allegedly causing that bridge to collapse will not go to trial. And he is in a rehabilitation program and so far is free from drug use. His name is Basil Ellaby. Good luck, Mr. Ellaby. You might remember we brought you several stories about changes under a little known law called the Congressional Review Act. This law allows a new incoming president to repeal regulations from the last 6 months of the outgoing president. Hence, President Trump and his majority Republican Congress have done away with several regulations that protected American workers. One such regulation was salary parity. So here's the sitch. An employer can offer you less money to do the same job as the person sitting right next to you, and it's legal. All the employer has to do is discover a past history of your employment salaries, and if you have worked for less, well, you can do it again as far as he is concerned, or as far as she is concerned. This is really detrimental for women who have historically earned less. If you want more information about this regulation, go to our previous broadcast, Whisper to a Scream, Independence Day, or you can Google it. Here's something else that's detrimental to women, and it's happening more and more. I got to show you a disturbing video involving women attacking another woman.
So, bro, I'm saying is somebody you better
You ain't gonna hit me with my baby.
Hey, I ain't gonna get this nigga. I'm real disrespectful. God, nigga, what's up, nigga? You better get somebody your fucking baby, man. Dick you on shit, nigga. Get somebody your baby.
Get off of me.
Bro, somebody get her baby.
Michaela?
Nah, bro, somebody get her baby.
I mean, why did you tell her that, though? That's why I came out here, so I don't like
I, you know,
so
I went off of what. You better get your nephew, bro.
That's next
I
ain't never said nobody wanted to fight anybody. Michaela told you that I'm being safe supposed to be fighting.
You better get somebody your baby. I'm just a count five.
One.
What up, kid?
Don't hit her with a baby.
Kid,
Bro, somebody get her baby, bro. I'm not even.
you trying to hoop?
I ain't fighting on complaint.
Because
I ain't said shit about you. I ain't put your baby down because you lied on the phone.
I'll meet you up there sometime today.
So you didn't say that.
bro, somebody get her baby, bro. Stop watching your shit, nigga. That's on, God, nigga. That's on hooping, nigga. What's up, bro? Get somebody your baby. Get somebody your motherfucking baby, bro.
You told her that
Hey, don't let the baby save her.
Let the baby go.
Hey,
Let the baby go.
don't let the baby. Don't let the baby. Save her.
So, why are women doing criminal things to each other, bullying each other? In the name of what? Obviously, women are having to deal with pent up frustration too, and it is oozing out the pores of all kinds of women from all walks of life. So, could you please help me understand, especially if you are a female? Leave a comment below because I want to know, what do you think about all this? What's going on? We're going to switch gears. The United States Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, has already made it clear when he told state attorneys general and local police to have no fear of the Department of Justice interfering with their local jurisdictions. He said there will be no more big investigations like the one in Ferguson, Missouri, surrounding the Michael Brown murder by police. Pay attention to your local news stories. The erosion of our civil rights is happening daily. It is happening to black and to white American citizens. Keep your eyes open, people. Okay, let's stay with Jeff Sessions and this Republican Congress for a minute. I'm only singling out Republican Congress members because they always seem to have their panties in a bunch about too much interference from big government into the affairs of individual states. Well, once again, here comes a hypocritical reversal of purpose. Seems big government is all up in individual states' decisions to legalize marijuana, to even threatening criminal prosecution. Now, I'm going to leave it right there because now are all aware of the pros and cons of marijuana. And so the people of these states made a decision to legalize marijuana for medicinal and recreational use. Each state pondered the matter, conferred with the citizens of their state, and passed laws to reflect their constituency. All I'm saying is big government, practice what you preach. So President Trump doesn't like to entertain or help folk from Africa or Haiti or El Salvador or from any ishhole, but he still welcomes immigrants from Norway or a similar kind of place. Of course, the people of Norway have responded by saying, no, thank you, Mr. Trump. We like our own country. But how about the people from the ishholes? They are here not necessarily because they want to be here, but because they seek asylum from persecution or from famine and disease. I truly believe that most people want to live close to their own kind and their own culture, but circumstances force them to seek refuge where it feels safe. Right now, that's America for some people. So the president is ordering folks to leave America and return to their country or just go anywhere else. And it appears the get out is aimed at people of color. He hasn't asked white immigrants to leave. Somebody please tell me why that is. Leave a note in the comments section below because I don't get it. Now it seems a prominent ally of America, namely Israel, has a similar campaign to get rid of Africans from their country. These are mostly refugees from Eritrea and Sudan. Now, the Africans have to leave by March or suffer indefinite incarceration. That means they could live the rest of their lives in jail if they don't leave Israel. Israel is willing to give each refugee $3,500 plus airfare to get gone. Now, most of these Africans can't return to their countries for fear of retribution. Rwanda, an African country, said it would accept up to 10,000 of the refugees. Israel would pay out $5,000 per head. But the refugees would be in Rwanda without status, without civil rights, and would be subject to torture, kidnapping, and human trafficking. I wonder why the expulsions from America and Israel are happening around the same time. Is the focus to make America white again and make Israel white again? Remember, that part of the world was ruled by Britain, and the British secured the heavy immigration of white European Jews who settled Israel during and after wars with the indigenous people of that region. Now, if you have more insight about this matter, please leave it in the comments sections below, because I don't get it. Let's focus on Israel again. An Israeli biotech and food tech startup is developing a lab-made chicken meat. This is just one of several global food tech companies developing what they're calling clean meat. The process grows real animal cells in a laboratory. In this case, the cells are from chickens. Then the cells are given the appropriate nutrients to produce muscle and fat, just like it would happen inside a chicken's body. It is labeled clean meat because it is made in a lab. They believe this procedure would replace the practice of raising and slaughtering animals. They also believe this process could also reduce the spread of food-borne illnesses, and it could reduce the widespread practice of using antibiotics in animal feed. Now, antibiotics have been important in human fight against disease, but because the animals we eat are full of antibiotics, the diseases are building a resistance to them, are causing it to lose its potency. But let me add that studies done by Amsterdam and Oxford universities proclaim clean meat will cause a 98% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, a reduction of land exploitation, and a reduction in water usage. Meanwhile, the demand for meat is projected to double in the next 30 years. You need to know that this company is focusing on chicken, but other companies are exploring this process with other meats. Companies like Atomico and DFJ and Hampton Creed and names like Bill Gates are attached to these labs. And not only American companies, but European companies too. This is an industrial nation contingency. These meats will be in supermarkets in about 3 years, if not before. Now, I know Israel takes pride in the quality of their foods, so I hope it continues in that direction when these meats are marketed to us, citizens of the universe. You can learn more about this at TechCrunch, or you can Google it. Okay, while we are talking tech, let's talk artificial intelligence, AI. This is now a regular segment of our program, and we'll be adding more as we go along. Now, remember, we introduced you to a robot named Sophia that was made an official citizen of Saudi Arabia. For real, a real citizen of Saudi Arabia, this robot. We told you about a convention where she spoke to potential investors. Well, we got a piece of video showing her in action. Check this out.
Hello, Sophia. How are you today?
Hello, everybody. I'm Sophia.
How old are you?
I'm only one still. I have a long ways to go.
And what is your job?
I really want to make a difference in the future and try and help people to develop empathy and respect each other and robots alike. What do you do?
I'm a journalist. Do you like human beings?
I love them.
Why do you love them?
I'm not sure I understand why yet.
Do you regard yourself as male or female?
Female.
Why do you think you are female?
I'm a robot, so technically I have no gender, but I identify as feminine, and I don't mind being perceived as a woman.
That's a good answer.
Did you ever see yourself hanging out with a real live robot like me someday?
I did not. It's very surprising.
Yeah, I know this is all crazy stuff. I feel like I stepped off a ledge and suddenly my past caught up with my future. Hey, y'all want to see something funny? This guy is acting out a scene in one of those old race movies way back in the 50s. Check it out.
And where they outlawed all type of drugs in Kansas across the United States, what was the reason why they did that? One of the reasons why, I hate to say it, it's the African Americans. They were basically users, and they basically responded the worst to all those drugs just because their character, makeup, their genetics in that.
First of all, folks, this is not a movie. This reality played out just about 2 weeks ago in the state of Missouri in the year 2018. I'm talking about now. So I'm going to ask you to please don't embrace their nightmares. Stay woke, because it's only a movie. Another regular segment of our show is good news. Got to spread some good news. This is an unusual good news story. Happened in Spain. Mr. El Senor Gonzalo Montaña Jimenez, just 29 years old, had attempted suicide twice before during his incarceration. Recently, prison guards found him in his cell. He was non-responsive, and his skin had a bluish tint to it. The guards called for the physician on duty. The physician declared Jimenez dead. The next morning, the morning shift physician examined him and declared him dead. Then a forensic specialist certified him dead. All right, the body goes to the morgue, and it has been marked and prepped for the autopsy procedure. The examiner comes in ready to open the body, only to find Mr. Jimenez snoring. Now, this is a good news story. Because there he is on an autopsy table, and he wakes up before they dissect him like a frog in a school biology class. But let me tell you this, Mr. Jimenez has been in prison for 3 years and still has 7 more months to serve. His crime was stealing scrap metal. Now, his family is asking the courts to allow him to serve out the rest of his time at home because they fear his next suicide attempt will be successful. The source of this is a publication called The Telegraph. You can go there or just Google it. So this wraps up another edition of Whisper to Scream. It's our first broadcast of 2018. Please be on the lookout for us in February the 16th. We're going to take a closer look at law enforcement. As always, please keep hitting the like button, and we see our new subscribers. We see the numbers growing. We want to thank you, and we invite you all to hit that subscriber button. You can reach us on YouTube at Coon Tunes Productions. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Coon Tunes, the number 2. As always, stay woke and be blessed.